Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a really interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Bestech Fairchild. This is a big, crazy knife. And I really like this one. This knife, along with a few others, was sent to me by the designer, which is this person right here. I have tried, to the designer, I am so sorry, I have tried to pronounce your name, and I really would rather not butcher it. I'd rather just put it up on screen. I would invite you guys to check out his other work through Bestech. He does a lot of designs for the Bestech knife company. A lot of stuff that is, along the same lines of this theme, but this particular one I think was executed especially well. So thank you so much to the designer for sending in these knives so that I could take a look at them. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this knife. It is not a small knife. It's not an absolutely hulking, insano, it's not a Cold Steel Spot XL, but it's a big knife. A little bit over 9 inches. I'm actually coming in at 9 1/8. The blade length is absolutely 4 inches, and your cutting edge is coming in at about 3.65 or so. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Wow, there we go. Perspective. This thing is freaking huge. Ontario Rat Model 1 and Rat Model 2. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3? It is still very big, right? A lot of times these size comparisons feel silly. Yeah, you get the idea after a while. Up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogan, the Benchmade Bug Out. And there we go. How's the action on this guy? Very good. Bestech has very, very good manufacturing quality, and depending on the design, the execution can come through anywhere from meh to wow, holy crap, right? This is kind of one of those. The action is awesome, and I think a lot of it is due to the blade being pretty thick and pretty gigantic. I described this knife as it looks like a robot killer whale, right? That's what it makes me think of. But it is very easy to manipulate thanks to that large deployment slot there. And it's really satisfying because that blade just falls shut, but it's nice and controlled. I think there's a good balance between what Bestech's doing on the inside of these knives and just how much blade is coming down. It's controlled, right? It's not an absolute guillotine, but very satisfying. There's a good balance going on here, so I really like it. Deploying and disengaging this blade, despite it being huge, is actually pretty easy. And, for such a large knife, you would think that that process might be cumbersome. No, it's not. It's really cool. This kind of looks like, it's like if the Spyderco Shaman, was on steroids and then became a mech, right? It's just, that's what it makes me think of. It's like a very future, it's kind of like how the T1000 got upgraded over time. It's just like a Shaman that it's been upgraded and upgraded and upgraded, and it's from the future to come back and warn us about some sort of apocalyptic event. Yeah, anyways, that's kind of what it makes me think of. So yeah, let's go ahead and do carry profile. So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It's a little bit thicker, but you guys might be surprised to see that it's really not massively thick. A lot of the mass is really this dimension right here. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. I'm finally recording with grid lines so I can get these knives straight. Yeah, it's tall. This is going to take up a lot of room in your pocket. You're going to really have to want to carry a big, tall knife. It is long, it is tall, it is heavy, right? Definitely. That's what she said. Sorry. I mean, did you? You said that out loud too. And if you didn't say it out loud, you said it in your head. Don't come after me. Let's go. Why? People are like, why is he getting aggressive? Wait on this guy. We do have some internal milling beyond just the holes that go all the way through. You can see there's actually some pockets in there, and I think that was a good choice because there's a lot of titanium here. This knife is still coming in at 6.14 ounces, which is about what I expected. There's a lot of weight in the blade, so funny enough, it actually is balanced right behind the pivot. Look at that. It's a pretty wieldy beast, right? I mean, it's big. You're going to notice it, right? It's going to be really banging around in there. If you wear wax paper pants and you sprint a lot, probably not your best friend. If you're wearing jeans or heavy duty work pants, something like that, it might be a little bit more friendly. You know, this depends on how much you move. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness. That looks like a beefy boy. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like this is at least 165 thousandths, but I'm often wrong, so let's find out. Where's the flattest? Yeah, let's do up here and get it to right there. Oh, no, that would be, I'm sorry, that'll be 180 thousandths, and actually, I'm wondering, am I even on the thickest part of the blade? I think it actually continues to taper. Let's try right here. Yeah, this is coming at 194 thousandths. That's a thick blade. That is XM24 thickness there. So yeah, big, thick boy there for sure. Most of the weight, it feels like, is in that. Well, no, technically most of it's in the handle, but there's a lot of weight in the blade for sure. Okay. Have we done, oh, we have not done the hardware check. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. How many of you mouth that along with me? You've heard me say that so many times. Do you say it out loud with me? Like how when kids watch Cocomelon or PJ Masks, right? They mouth the stuff. Do you guys do that? I don't know. Maybe you don't. Where is my T8 bit? Is it, I don't know what happened to it. I have a different one here. I believe that, the handle screws are T8. Are they, or are they bigger? That's not exactly. Okay, I found my bit that was labeled. There it is, T8. So let's put that in there and see. On the handle screws. They are. These are T8. Great. How about the pivot screw? That looks like it's a T8 as well. It is. That's awesome. That's what it should be. And then we have a hidden screw underneath here, which is holding in the pocket clip. And that is also T8. The lock bar insert screw is also T8. Thank you. Nice. Everything's T8. Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful. That's awesome to see. Good deal. Should be easy to take apart. Let's go ahead and talk about this magnificent monster knife. Look at that pivot. That is so cool, man. I love how that looks. That is just really, really nice. There's a lot that's really unique, and it kind of goes with the theme, and it almost looks like some kind of crest. Like this is a faction from the Transformers show. It's not Autobots or Decepticons, it's something in between, right? That's kind of what it makes me think of. I like it. It just looks decorative and cool and purposeful in some way, even though it has no function whatsoever other than just looking nice. So yeah, that's neat. Also, usually I'm not a big fan of like holes or busyness or anything unless the flow is just perfect. And look at this, how this line right here, it starts and it widens out and there's a hole, right? And then the line widens out more, another hole, and it widens out and connects perfectly. How satisfying is that right now, right? If this is the first time you're seeing this, it opens up perfectly with the blade. And that follows through to the opening hole here, and then this line continues out. There's the swedge, there's another swedge up here. The flat here carries up and meets with the curvature of the... This is just cool, man. It just looks... It's so satisfying to see something like that. And it doesn't end there, right? All of these lines, all the chamfered edges, right? All of this stuff comes together. Even the pocket clip, which is almost doing its own thing, somehow magically just integrates perfectly with the design. It's just cool. This type of stuff makes me happy, right? Somebody who has seen an abundance of simple rectangles and triangles, right? The classic knife handle shape and classic knife blade shape. I've seen enough of these. This is a good knife, but I've seen enough of them. So stuff like this, I get excited about. It looks cool. On top of that, wow, it's very ergonomic. You do have some pretty, they're not overly aggressive zones, but they are some, you should probably put your finger right here kind of zones, right? If you would like to choke back, I almost have enough room back here to get 4 fingers on this knife. Here, in this position, I'm comfy. I'm cozy right here. This is melty good, feels good. I can do some work with this. Or you can choke up on this bad boy and really get some power cuts in if you want to. However you define that. This is ergonomically fantastic. And I love how, you know, sort of the handle just sort of integrates into the choil, the forward choil / sharpening choil area. It's just nice. Get up there right behind that blade, which truthfully, because it's so tall, it does taper down to reasonably thin. It's not a laser beam, but it is reasonably thin and is capable of doing a wide variety of different tasks. Slicing paper, for example, is no problem with this knife. Your experience will vary depending on what you're cutting, but we don't have any rolled edges on the paper. It's not tearing, it's slicing. And that's pretty cool considering the stock started at 195 thousandths, right? You are still gonna push all 195 thousandths of that blade through thicker material like cardboard, so keep in mind you will have some drag in those situations, but you're gonna be comfortable while you're doing that. The fatigue is gonna be in the drag, not in the discomfort of your hand, especially when you're, you know, if you're wearing gloves. So that's just great. I really like this knife, Ergonomic. You know, and a lot of like my ergonomic preferences, if you've been watching my channel a lot over the years, you'll know that a lot of my, you know, ergonomic preferences come along with knives like the Manix 2, the Shaman, the Demco AD10, the Demco AD15, the AD20, the Hinder XM18 non-flipper, right? You put all those lines together, go look up pictures of those knives and you know, save them and then edit them, rotate them, and put them all side by side and look. They're all very, very similar. And truthfully, you know, other than some extra areas in here, we have a lot of the same type of formula. It's its own thing, right? I mean, had he smoothed this area out, then we would have, you know, kind of that same thing. But it creates comfort. And if the pocket clip is done correctly, then it stays comfortable. Had he put some big stupid dragon bill on this thing, then it would have really sucked. But he didn't. He left it like this. We have a herd of freaking horses stomping around directly above me. Sorry about that. It's just like, what were they doing up there? Are they tap dancing? Jeez. Anyways, I think that's my wife leaving. But anyways, yeah, the ergonomic experience with this thing is really good. The blade is beautiful. It looks like it's like a cross between bead blasting and tumbling. It's a very low reflectivity tumbling is what I think it is. Almost kind of the working finish from Hinder, that concrete kind of showroom floor looking finish. It looks nice, right? They have this in, I think, a couple of different colors. This is a light bronze ano. They have just the plain stonewashed, and I think they have a blue one too, at least. Maybe they have a black one, I'm not really sure. This is gonna be, if I didn't say in the beginning, it's gonna be linked down below so you guys can check it out. There is a tip, right? It points down. It's a downward pointed tip, which is nice if you want to do draw cuts. This is a big knife, but you can sort of hook your middle finger into the choil area right here, get your index finger down on the nose of the blade since it's pointed down and do your draw cuts. It's honestly pretty utilitarian. It's one of those knives that's funny because initially you look at it and you're like, that's kind of just that novelty feel-good kind of design, and then you get to handling it and manipulating it and you're like, actually, I think I could carry and use this pretty effectively. And yeah, you know, if you're used to carrying larger knives, it certainly does have some overkill, but what doesn't these days? Without overkill, I wouldn't be doing this because it wouldn't be interesting, right? So I kind of welcome it sometimes. Moving on, the backspacer, it's simple, but the way that it's designed is also as the lanyard thing, and it is out of the way of the thing that is much more important, which is the pocket clip and its mounting position for carry depth. Because of the angle of this, when you put this in your pocket, what's going to be sticking up out of your pocket is this, which is a lot. But then you look at, you know, underneath the iceberg and realize, oh wow, there's actually quite a bit more of it in your pocket. So while it looks like shallow carry, just going by the percentage of knife that is in your pocket, I'm going to call it medium carry depth. It's going to carry a little bit funky, and not just because it's so tall this way, but because it's resting, your pocket seam will be resting on this spot right here, and it's angled upward, but that's just how it's going to be. The pocket clip is beautifully sculpted, and like I said, it goes with the design. Even this area right here that looks like it would be pointy, no. And they actually knocked that down. So that's really cool. And we have Aha, perfect. We have a continuous ramp on the clip, which means in and out of the pocket, it's a breeze, unless you have massively thick pocket seams, in which case you'll need to kind of hold the knife and hold the pocket and, you know, do that song and dance. We have a lock bar insert that is doubling as the over travel stop, which is great. We have a nice big old fat stop pin back there with a little bit of shouldering. Click into the open position is very satisfying and super duper solid. We have no lock stick whatsoever. We have no pivot lash. Lockup percentage. Let's go ahead and fire that thing out hard so we can really see where it's actually locking up at. It's actually pretty darn early. That sucker is locking up at maybe 15%, 20% max, but it's solid. It's not going anywhere. No lock stick, no pivot lash. Nice and smooth, very consistent in here, right? The actual detent strength, it's okay. It's on the, not quite heavy, but it's more than medium, and it's dead center. Oh, blade steel. Sorry, this is S35VN, which I have no problem with whatsoever. Why isn't it M390 for that much money? It should be M390 because M390 is a premium. You can get knives in M390 for less than $100. So stop. Stop saying that. These different powder form compositions, these premium compositions, are just multi-directional teeter-totters. And as much as people like to believe this, edge retention is not the end-all be-all of value. It comes down to preference. M390 has better edge retention than S35VN, but S35VN still has really good edge retention. M390 is also more corrosion resistant than S35VN, but S35VN is still stainless steel, where S35VN does better than M390, and honestly, in my opinion, this to me works out better. It is tougher, which means it's not going to chip as readily as properly heat-treated M390, and it is also dramatically easier to sharpen. Holy crap. Sharpening experience with S35VN versus M390, I'll take S35VN all day. So it's still an expensive steel for Bestech to purchase from Crucible, which they do. It's not like this is Chinese S35VN. No, this is CPM S35VN, which means Bestech buys it from Crucible here in the United States, and it goes over there to be turned into a blade, right? It's still an expensive material, and in my opinion, it is perfectly welcome on knives in this price tier. What is that price tier? Metal Complex. It's a big knife. Looks like a premium Chinese knife. Yeah, it comes with a premium price tag too. It's $322, which was kind of... ouch, right? Ugh, I really was hoping to see this thing under 300. You know, looking at the competition, we're seeing a lot of stuff in the $300 price territory these days that's like this. You do get a lot of knife for that much money, but it still feels like it should be sub $300, like $280, $285. It's $322. I'm not super excited about the price, but I think anybody who does buy this is going to be really, really impressed with that thing, this thing. That's the thing. I mean, looking at it right here, it's really hard to choke down that price tag, but as soon as you get it in your hands, you'll be like, I don't feel so bad about that, right? So, you know, do what you will with that information. It's pretty cool. It's also massive, so it's not going to be for everybody, right? I mean, like, it's not just generally not an overly, like, universally recommendable knife, right? Because it's just so big, but it's cool. So the people who pick it up will enjoy it. That's really all I have to say about this thing. Links for this guy right down below. Thanks again to the designer who sent this in for me to review. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.